What kind of car do you got?
I've got a bitchin' Camaro.
Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
Hey man, where you headed?
Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
I'm drunk on unleaded.
Well, looks like they're finally going to do it. Chevrolet's going to pull the plug for good on the Camaro as we've known it after the 2024 model year. Adding insult to injury, rumor has it that if and when they bring it back, it's going to be some sort of electric crossover. You know, like the Ford Mustang Mach-E.
Oh, the pain. The pain.
Knowing all Camaros were bitchin', some were more bitchin' than others. Using my 0 to 5 scale for styling, performance, and gotta have it factor, today we're going to find out which Camaro was the bitchinest of them all. So comb your mullet, put on your best flannel shirt, grab your keys or key fobs, and let's head to Walmart, kids. Let's do this.
Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
Hey man, where you headed?
The Camaro debuted for model year 1967 as Chevrolet's answer to the Ford Mustang that had been introduced halfway through the 1964 model year. Camaro was originally to be called Panther, but GM executives thought that name too aggressive. They claimed Camaro stems from the French word compagnon for companion. Another story has it that the name popped into a Chevrolet executive's head while they were taking a shower. What we do know for certain is that Chevrolet had been working on a small, sporty 4-passenger car as far back as 1958. GM executives thought they had the 4-passenger 2-door sporty car market all locked up with the Corvair and the Chevy 2. First-generation Camaros were based loosely on the 1966 Chevy 2. Nova was a Chevy 2 trim package. Early Camaro prototypes were called Supernova. Now, I group first-generation Camaros into two groups, the 1967 and 8s and the 1969s. I do that because I found the 67 and 8s pretty hard to tell apart. I tell a 67 from a 68 by the door glass. 67s have an old-timey vent window at the bottom front of the doors. The 68s do not. I give the 67s and 8s a 3 for styling. This may sound harsh, but compared to modern-day Camaros, which this list will include, they only get a 2 for performance. And lastly, I give them a 3 for gotta have it factor. Grand total is 8. The 69s, though, they're a whole other animal. The 67 and 8 Camaros have an unfinished vibe to them compared to the 69s, like they were still working on them when the deadline hit for production. Shame they only made these one model year. I give these a 4 for styling. Performance is all but the same, so they get a 2 as well, but they get a 5 for gotta have it factor. A grand total of 11. Chevrolet launched the second-generation Camaro for model year 1970 and built them through 1981. These cars are 2 inches longer, I know they look much longer than that, are 4/10 of an inch wider, and thanks to side impact protection and the buttressing necessary to reinforce the sexy body, they weighed nearly 200 pounds more despite being, for all intents and purposes, very similar underneath to the first-generation Camaros. Within the second-gen Camaro, there were 3 distinct sub-generations. 1970 to 1973, 1974 to 1977, and 1978 to 1981. Starting with the 1970 to 73s, these cars have spectacular front ends that came in 2 different configurations. You could have a full front bumper and these rally sports with this open grille setup. It's actually a reinforced urethane-like doodad thing that attaches to the front clip and is surrounded by bumperettes on each side. I like the full bumpers, but these open grille models are simply rolling works of art, in my opinion. Either way, these delicate flowers are fabulous looking, and if I could, I'd give them more than a 5 for styling, with perhaps the exception of the 1970 to 1972 SS models with their monstrous big blocks that impeded handling and balance because they were so heavy. These only get a 2 for performance. Even the Z28s with the LT1 aren't that fast, but they get a 5 for gotta have it factor. Grand total, 12. Starting in 1974, to be compliant with a federal mandate that all cars sold in this country were required to withstand a 5-mile-per-hour impact without damage, all Camaros got relatively large bumpers up front and out back. Chevrolet did as nice a job as possible, I guess, with integrating these things into an existing design, although, my opinion, it does muck things up. Styling, I give these a 3. Performance, we are talking mid-70s here, I give these a 2. That's being generous. I think a 1 is too harsh. And the gotta have it factor drops to a 3. Grand total, 8. These cars are still bitchin' though, and I wouldn't kick a 74 Z28 out of my garage. We tell a 74 from a 75 because the 75s have a wraparound rear window. Might have improved visibility, but it did nothing for aesthetics. Sorry, just my 2 cents. Chevrolet dropped the Z28 for 1975 as well, returning it halfway through the 1977 model year based largely, legend has it, on Pontiac's success with the Trans Am, sales of which were spurred by Burt Reynolds' literal star vehicle, Smokey and the Bandit. The third generation of second-generation Camaros began for 1978, and with it came the plastic or urethane or whatever this stuff is, covering the bumpers. While a much-appreciated improvement over the 1974 to 1977s, these still pale in comparison to the 1970 to 1973 models. Styling remains a 3, performance a 2. Sorry, gotta have it factor clips up only to a 4. Grand total of 9 for the last run of the second-generation Camaro. All right, and here we are, the rocker panels of perhaps the most star-crossed of all Camaros, the third-generation models that debuted from model year 1982 and were built through 1992. Save for some minor, and I mean minor cosmetic changes during these cars' 11-year model run, aesthetically, year over year, these cars are hard to tell apart. And frankly, I don't find the minute changes all that interesting, so I'm not going to waste your time today going through the vagaries of, say, the differences between an 82 and an 88. Let's judge these things on their talents or lack thereof, shall we? The best of them, somewhat subjectively, at least performance-wise, were either the 1985 to 1990 IROCs or the 1991 or 1992s with my favorite Chevrolet small block V8, the tuned port injection L98. That said, stylistically, I give these a 3 for performance, a generous 3. Gotta have it factor, they get a 3 for a grand total of 9. Not bad for a car that started out as little more than a sporty economy car. At the risk of oversimplifying things, fourth-generation Camaros, which came out in 1993 and were built through 2002, were updated third-generation Camaros with a fabulous glass fiber reinforced polyester body, similar in composition to what the body of Saturns were first made of. Whatever you do, don't call it fiberglass. There were 2 sub-generations of these cars, those built from 93 through 97 and 98 through 2002. I give these a 4 for styling. Performance, thanks in large part to their available LT1 V8 engines, they get a very solid 3, bordering on a 4. Gotta have it factor, I'll be generous and give these a 3 for a grand total of 10. I should take points off because these cars are very junky, trust me. I had 3 of them, so I know what I'm talking about. I still love them, though. 1998's got a revised front end allowing for the fitment of composite headlamps. And cool as these are, through my foggy goggles, the revision left these falling short of the 93 to 97 models. I give them only a 3 for styling. Thanks to their wonderful LS engines, they get a 4 for performance. Gotta have it factor, though. All things being equal, I give these only a 3 for a grand total of 10. Us Camaro fans refer to 2003 through 2009 as the lost years, when Chevrolet didn't make any Camaros, and we were forced to look at things like the Chevrolet SSR and Pontiac GTO and say, you know, I don't miss my old rattletrap. But we did miss those gorgeous, albeit highly flawed cars. No wonder Ford Mustang sales surged during this time. That changed for 2010 when Glory Be Chevrolet came out with a Camaro based stylistically on the 1969 Camaro and built them on the GM Zeta platform. The same that GM built the then-current Pontiac G8 and Chevrolet SS on. Sounds very promising. What could go wrong? Well, going retro or throwback is a slippery slope. If you want a modern version of a 69 Camaro, go get one and resto-mod it. You'll get a car that, performance-wise, is pretty close to what one of these could do, and look a whole lot better, too. I give these only a 2 for styling. Sounds harsh, I know, but dagnabbit, these cars really disappointed me. In the performance box, especially the SS models, I give them a 4, but they lose points on the almighty and highly subjective gotta-have-it factor. I give them a damning 2 for a grand total of only 8. The 6th and final generation of the Camaro came out in 2016. Now, the issue with these cars stylistically is that they're an evolution of the retro or throwback styling of the 5th generation cars, and if I didn't care all that much for them, these left me as unimpressed, if not more so. They kind of look like a cartoon. I will give credit where it's due, though. V6-powered Camaros of this vintage can suck the doors off most any V8 Camaro made prior. Again, most of them, not all. You could say the same for 5th-generation V6-powered Camaros. Based on these models equipped at their best, I give them only a 2 for styling. These cars are incredible fun to drive, and they get a 5 for performance. Gotta have it factor. I feel generous giving these a 2 for a grand total of only 9. Which brings us to the grand reveal, the bitchinest of all Camaros, and that is... Guys, hit it!
Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
Hey man, where you headed?
The 1970 to 1973s, especially the models with the Rally Sport trim option with their open grills. The ones with the full bumper ain't too shabby either. Now, although they're not that fast, they're quick enough, and they do handle like a truck with 4 square steel wheels, but their styling and gotta-have-it factor far outweighs where they came up short. So there you have it, the bitchinest of all Camaros. I'm sure you've got your own favorite, and I welcome your comments and feedback below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.